Whether you call them catheters or cannulas, essentially they're a long piece of insulated steel, and whether you have the catheter cooled by circulating water or you have one or several metal extensions, usually referred to as tines, whether you have insulation on one side or not, there are ways to shape the heating geometry so as to minimize the risk of injury to adjacent structures, which is obviously important, and to make lesions that are large enough to account for the variability in anatomy. In other words, if you're using a very small gauge needle, if the nerve is 1 millimeter to the left or to the right, you might not be able to achieve an adequate result. But by using a larger lesion, you might be able to get quite a satisfactory result. The downside is perhaps in a very slender patient, it would be possible to burn the skin. By changing the placement of the catheter, changing the choice of the catheter, changing the entry axis, there are ways to successfully produce the RF lesion and to minimize or virtually eliminate the risk of injury to inadvertent structures, including other nerves and skin. So yes, catheters or cannulas, it's all the same to us. I think the big issue is that the tined catheters and the cooled catheters continue to be very popular. And I think that we're going to start to see some newer catheters that have partially insulated surfaces that will be capable of essentially insulating important structures from the adverse effects of heating. And I think this will result in lesions that are as or perhaps more effective than our present devices, but give us an added margin of safety and flexibility in the areas that we can work in. Because our objective is just to get the heat on the nerve target. We really aren't interested in heating any other structures. So as we become more adept at using these catheters with new geometries of heating, I think it's a great and exciting time to be able to pick and choose from these available devices to suit the particular anatomy of the patient and the joint that we're treating.